Warning, if you haven't played Mixtape, stop watching now because this review is going to be full of spoilers. I'm breaking down my entire playthrough, talking about the story, the music, and whether or not this game's actually worth your time. So first off, visually, I really like the animation style. It's got that Spider-Man, Miles Morales inspired look that seems to be everywhere lately. We saw shades of it in South of Midnight, but here it's way more pronounced. So for me, the whole 90s presentation definitely triggered a little nostalgia, but maybe not in the way that the developers intended. The environments felt retro enough that they reminded me more of movies I watched growing up than actual memories from my own life. Story-wise, you play as Stacey Rockford, who is spending one final night with your friends before moving away to New York City, and the whole purpose is that you are putting together a playlist to commemorate the day. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know what to think about that either. The soundtrack is clearly meant to carry the emotional weight of the story. Stacy's carefully curated playlist is used to elevate almost every major scene and create that emotional connection with the player. At least that's what I feel that was the purpose of the soundtrack. So when you put it all together, the goal is pretty obvious. A relatable, well, supposed to be a relatable coming of age story mixed with 90s nostalgia and a soundtrack that's supposed to resonate with other players while maybe connecting a younger audience to that same emotional experience. And I guess with all of that being said, does the game accomplish that? Fuck no. now, now before people get mad, let me preface this by saying I fully understand that this game probably wasn't made for me specifically. Even though it's clearly aiming for people from my generation, I found almost zero relatability with the characters or the story. When this game was first announced back in 2024, I honestly thought it was going to be more of an adventure music rhythm game kind of thing, packed with recognizable tracks from the time. But the problem is, most of the songs in this game meant absolutely nothing to me. Half the time, I genuinely couldn't tell if I was listening to actual licensed songs from the 90s or royalty-free tracks designed to sound like them. I don't know. Hey, listen, no offense to anyone who enjoys this type of music. It just wasn't for me. So because of that, for me, it completely killed the nostalgia factor that the game was banking on, just because of the song choices. So the game opens up with Stacy and her two friends skateboarding down the hill. The music during the scene was fine, I guess, but mainly because I kept expecting more recognizable tracks to show up later on. But obviously they didn't. But to be fair, the presentation is nice. The animation style, the colors, the environments, the locations. Visually, the game absolutely has appeal. But that visual charm gets overshadowed pretty quickly once the gameplay kicks in, which basically there's none. It's basically an interactive movie with very light input from the player. You walk around a little, press a few buttons during scripted moments, and that's kind of it. Matter of fact, you can actually not press anything, and the game will play on its own. So that's how weak the gameplay mechanics are in the game. Now, as far as the nostalgia factor goes, I'll give the game some credit. Seeing the skateboards, the cassette tapes, the stereos, the CD players, it definitely sent me down memory lane just for a bit. But here's the issue. It's a little bit hard for me to explain, but I expected the game to sort of celebrate how life was back in the 90s. Um and I listen, I was born in 82, so you do the math. Obviously the 90s was my everything, But the game doesn't really do that. It's more just like it drops little things here and there where you just point at the screen and be like, hey, look, remember that, or remember this, remember doing that. And that's pretty much as far as the nostalgia goes. And you know what's funny is that this game made me think of Guardians of the Galaxy, because that is how you use nostalgia properly. Not only did Guardians of the Galaxy have incredible music, but the songs actually elevated the emotional moments and made you feel connected to the characters. The soundtrack became part of the identity of the experience with the game, if that makes sense. So I did stream this game, and as the game went on, my chat kept asking me what the story was actually about. And honestly, I struggled to answer them. The best way I could describe it is it's basically a group of teenagers hanging out and reminiscing about past experiences before one of them has to move away. Most games have a clear conflict, obstacle, or emotional goal driving everything forward. But here, I generally could not bring myself to care about Stacy trying to find the perfect songs to accompany memories from her final night with her friends. And unfortunately, this is where the game really started to fall apart for me. Honestly, the whole time I was playing, I kept feeling like this story was written by someone who never actually experienced the 90s and just pulled inspiration from movies about teenage life instead. Because for me, I mean, the 90s were video games, music, junk food, movies, stressing over finals and talking about girls with my friends. not not floating through the air having like emotional spoken word therapy sessions with indie music playing in the background. so, but anyway, hey, listen, I'm ranting. Needless to say, I couldn't care less about these kids. The more the story unfolded, the more I started resenting their attitudes, especially Cassandra. I'll get into that later. The game continues with you exploring your bedroom, piecing together memories by interacting with objects around the room. Then eventually, you reach the makeout minigame. Oh shit! Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I use the word game very loosely here. You literally just wiggle your tongues around with the analog sticks until you just check out and you've had enough. And to be fair, if you are an achievement hunter, hold out for 60 seconds and grab the trophy so you never have to do this again. You're welcome. And then after that, it's just more memories being unlocked, more light gameplay interaction, rinse and repeat until the credits roll. So there are two scenes that stood out to me in terms of like actual gameplay. There's one scene where you're skipping rocks across a lake and you have to hit different targets that are all around the area. There is an achievement here, by the way, so make sure you do that so you don't have to play the game again. And the second moment is when you play as Cassandra and you're trying to hit home runs in the baseball field. The only two times where it actually felt like we were playing a game. Aw, shit. So nice right now? Fucking right, man. And the story does get slightly more interesting once you learn more about Cassandra's relationship with her dad and the fact that she's angry because Stacy is leaving. I mean, her relationship with her dad was generally frustrating to watch because the guy is clearly trying. But again, I just didn't care. And can we talk about all the flying and floating in the game for a second? Seriously, what is happening here? What in the drugs is happening? Every other playable sequence has these kids levitating through the air like they're all high or something. I honestly thought, because it happens so often, that it was just a metaphor of them doing drugs. But it's happened a lot. At one point, I was like, okay, cool, they're floating again. All right. And we're going to Never Never Land. Anyway, the story keeps moving forward as the group slowly comes to terms with growing up and whatever future awaits them. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, your older sister hooks you up with access to an abandoned house so you and your friends can do some underage drinking and throw parties with the popular kids. Right? Nice. That's part of the story too, by the way. So as you're snooping around, you go into your sister's room and you find out that she discovered like this abandoned house in the woods and she used to hang out there a lot. I mean, okay, cool. So you find this house, and another backstory, or rather another part of this coming of age story, is that you're also preparing to go to this party being hosted by one of the popular kids in high school, and you're hoping to get some drinks together and go join the party. And that's where the whole like the sister's cabin comes into play, because Cassandra's father is a cop and he later catches wind that there's going to be a lot of illegal underage drinking going on, and he's trying to control the situation, trying to stop the bad influences in her life, like her friends Tracy and this fucking dude here.
You're staying home tonight.
What?
Bill Robbie down at the liquor store said kids have been in and out of there all day. Something's happening tonight, and I don't want you part of it.
You can't. This is our last night together. I told you about this.
No. You
Oh,
will stay home, goddammit.
shit. So he's trying to stop all that from happening. And lo and behold, everything comes full circle. The cabin that the sister had found, that sort of like passed it along to Tracy, is now the new location to the party. All the popular kids wanna hang out with them now, and they all have this big ass party. But like most parties with the fucking underage fucking kids, something's bound to happen that goes wrong, and in this case, the cabin is set on fire. Oh, my dick door! Look, my dick door! Then Cassandra's dad ends up confronting them. He's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And this is the part where Cassandra basically tells her dad that all the sacrifices he made for her, putting a roof over her head, supporting her education, giving her opportunities, were all fucking meaningless because he can basically shove it up his ass. And the dad's response is basically,
Well,
I'm too old for this shit,
I
man.
guess we have ourselves an understanding.
Understanding? How do I reach these kids? You just condoned your kid being a fucking pyro.
Cassandra, that was amazing.
Of course it was. Of course.
Are you okay?
I saw death in front of me, and I walked out to meet it.
That's what you did. Meanwhile, her idiot friends are hyping her up like, yeah, you showed him, yeah. Like, showed him what? That he cared too much? Man, I can't wait for you to get a fucking mortgage. I can't wait for you to pay the fucking rent. Get the heating bill for the first time. Get the electric bill for the first time. Have to file your taxes because you don't fucking know. Then after, once the cabin is all set on fire and Cassandra tells off her dad, whatever, they decide to fly away. I'm trying to make them hit a tree or something, but it won't let me. It's like, what the fuck, man? Never to be seen again. And then roll credits. Look, I know this review probably sounds like I'm just endlessly dunking on the game, but remember, this game is getting insanely high review scores across the board. Critics are acting like this belongs among gaming's greatest titles of all time. Apparently, we need to revise the library now because there's a new mid-tier legend in town. Move over, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Grand Theft Auto 5, Baldur's Gate 3, Red Dead Redemption 2, Elden Ring, Super Mario Odyssey. I don't know why I said it like that. The Last of Us, because now we've got Mixtape. So let's get down to it. Is Mixtape worth playing? Honestly, truthfully, for $20? Nah, I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just too old for this stuff, and I'm at the point now where I lived long enough that I'm becoming the villain. If you treat it more like a coming-of-age movie or an interactive TV show, then sure, you might get something out of it. I mean, the last coming-of-age movie I actually loved and watched a lot of was Superbad. Before that, it was Eurotrip, American Pie, Road Trip. But hey, don't let my opinion stop you from this. 10 out of 10. So I don't know if you were expecting some sort of rhythm game like I was, or maybe even a Life is Strange, or even better, a Dispatch type of game. You're definitely going to be disappointed. There are no meaningful choices, no real consequences, your actions barely matter, and unless you're hunting achievements, then there's basically zero replay value. Thankfully, the game is on Xbox Game Pass, so at least you don't have to spend extra money if you already have a subscription, and honestly, that's probably the best way to experience it, which is why I decided to stream it. Now, should you stream it? Actually, maybe. To be fair, there are definitely moments you can react to, just joke about, or force some laughs if you really wanted to. And yeah, I mean, did my audience enjoy it? I think so. But honestly, not because of the game itself. Most of the fun came from me sharing stories and memories from my own teenage years rather than reacting to what Mixtape was giving me. So in a weird way, the game actually worked better as a catalyst for just chatting segments than as an actual emotional narrative experience. At the end of the day, if you got 3 hours to kill, sure, bang it out and move on to the next game. Just don't go in expecting to complete the game and you have this profound experience and you're sitting in your feelings, staring at the credits, questioning life. I mean, if you do end up emotionally destroyed by this story, or even emotionally moved, let's say, congratulations. You are officially the target audience. And I'm willing to bet your teenage years in the 90s looked very different than mine. I give this game a solid four, 4.5 out of 10. Great presentation, but I don't know. The music was very underwhelming for me, combined with a lackluster story. It just missed the mark. And I absolutely understand music is subjective. You're gonna like what you like. I'm gonna like what I like. And you know what? If you like this music, more power to you. Good for you. I don't know. I feel that if you did grow up in that time in the 90s, you had no idea what these songs were. I'm telling you, the only recognizable song that I heard in the game was Stan Bush, "You've Got the Touch," and that was a song in 1986. So which tells me they could even went further back, or rather, get some songs from the 80s, not just the 90s. I mean, during the skateboard scenes, they could have played Power. They could have played what's a song? "Power of Love" from the Back to the Future movie. I mean, that would have been cool. There are so many songs from the 90s they could have chosen from. I mean, there's Michael Jackson. TLC. Obviously, they mentioned it. Montel Jordan.
What song's next?
Well, it was gonna be Montel Jordan. This is how we
90s
do it.
confirmed. You could have put Ace of Base in there. But like I said, when the game is rooted and based, not just in the 90s, but around the music at the time, I was expecting a more meaningful catalog. I guess it's also because the game had set a lot of expectations. The game got high ratings. So if you're going to give it a 10, I'll critique it like it's supposed to be a 10. That's all I got to say. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe. It would mean a lot. Come check me out on twitch.tv/LookAtAllThatJuice and come hang out and chat with me and as we shit on other games together.